What if everything you need to control your life is already within you? Picture this. The year is 175 CE. A battle rages on the Danube frontier. The Roman Emperor, Marcus Aurelius, stands amidst chaos, his soldiers shouting orders, the clash of swords ringing through the cold air. Yet, while the external world is chaos, his mind remains still. His journal, what we now call meditations, captures his thoughts as he balances the immense burden of leading an empire with an unyielding quest for inner peace. Now, imagine if you could borrow his mindset for just one day. How would your life change? Here's the truth. Marcus Aurelius wasn't born a philosopher king. His wisdom didn't descend like divine inspiration. Instead, it was forged through relentless self-examination and a commitment to mastering his mind. And today, you and I are about to unpack that wisdom not as abstract theory, but as a guide to living boldly, freely, and with resilience. So let's start with a simple but revolutionary idea from Marcus. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Let me ask you this. How much of your daily frustration stems from trying to control what lies outside your influence? Perhaps it's an annoying colleague, a canceled flight, or even the unpredictability of the economy. Yet Marcus teaches us that these external forces are not the enemy. The real challenge is within, the battle to govern our own reactions. Take a moment and think about the last time you were angry or frustrated. Was it really the event that caused your reaction? Or was it your interpretation of it? Marcus reminds us, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. But let's be honest, revoking that reaction is hard. Our modern world is designed to provoke us. Social media thrives on outrage. Advertising preys on insecurity. And daily life often feels like a competition for control. So, how do we reclaim the serenity that Marcus wrote about? Here's one way, through the Stoic practice of the dichotomy of control. Imagine dividing your concerns into two categories, things you can influence and things you cannot. It sounds simple, but its implications are profound. Think about how much mental energy you spend on outcomes beyond your control. Now, imagine redirecting that energy to focus solely on your efforts, your attitude, and your values. What would that feel like? Let's bring this to life with a modern example. Picture an entrepreneur whose startup is on the verge of collapse. Investors are withdrawing, the market is shifting, and the pressure is overwhelming. In such moments, it's tempting to panic or blame external factors. But a Stoic entrepreneur would ask, what can I control here? The answer might be clearer than it seems: crafting a better pitch, pivoting the business model, or simply accepting the possibility of failure with grace. Marcus would say, objective judgment, now at this very moment; unselfish action, now at this very moment; willing acceptance, now at this very moment of all external events. That's all you need. And let's not forget the bigger picture. Marcus's philosophy isn't about suppressing emotions or becoming indifferent to life. It's about embracing reality with clarity and courage. When we stop fighting what we can't change, we free ourselves to fully engage with what we can. Now, let me challenge you. What's one thing in your life right now that you're trying to control but shouldn't be? What would happen if you let go of that struggle? The beauty of Stoicism lies in its practicality. Marcus didn't write meditations for an audience. He wrote it for himself, as a tool to navigate the challenges of leadership, loss, and uncertainty. And if a Roman emperor, arguably the most powerful man of his time, found solace in surrendering control, what does that tell us about our own modern anxieties? Let's take this idea deeper. Imagine every interaction, every setback, and every triumph as a test of your character. Marcus saw life as a training ground for virtue. Each moment, whether joyous or painful, was an opportunity to practice wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline. But here's the twist. Stoicism isn't about perfection. Marcus himself admitted to failing often. What sets him apart is his commitment to begin again, no matter how many times he stumbled. He wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." So, let's reflect. When was the last time you truly appreciated the privilege of being alive? This mindset doesn't just transform how we face challenges. It reshapes how we see the world. By focusing on gratitude, we shift our attention from scarcity to abundance, from what's missing to what's already here. And isn't that what freedom truly is? Let me leave you with a thought experiment. Imagine your life stripped of all the external things you cling to, possessions, titles, even relationships. What remains? That essence is what Stoicism seeks to cultivate, a self-sufficient, resilient spirit that cannot be shaken by the winds of fortune. The Stoic art of turning adversity into strength. What if the very things you fear and resist the most are the keys to your growth? Marcus Aurelius believed they are. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Let that sink in for a moment. Obstacles are not barriers. They are bridges. Every challenge, every hardship, every frustration is a chance to practice virtue. But how do we reframe adversity in this way? Imagine yourself in a moment of crisis, perhaps a failed relationship, career setback, or an overwhelming loss. The natural response is to resist, to wish things were different. Yet Marcus reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. The question then becomes not, why is this happening to me? But, how can I use this? Let's bring this idea into focus with a story from Marcus's own life. During his reign as emperor, he faced relentless challenges, wars on the frontier, political betrayal, personal tragedy, and a devastating plague that swept through the empire. Yet, instead of crumbling under the weight of these burdens, he saw them as opportunities to strengthen his resolve and refine his character. One of his most powerful reflections during this time was, "If it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining. Your destruction will mean its end as well." These words, written in the quiet solitude of his tent, were not just for himself but for us, centuries later, as we navigate our own storms. But let's make this practical. Imagine you're overwhelmed at work, drowning in deadlines and expectations. The immediate reaction might be to feel trapped or defeated. Now, apply Marcus's perspective. What part of this situation is within your control? Could the pressure be a test of your ability to prioritize? Could the challenge be sharpening your problem-solving skills? This shift isn't easy. It requires us to embrace discomfort, to see pain as a teacher rather than an enemy. But here's the paradox. When we stop resisting adversity, we often find that it loses its power over us. Let me ask you, what's one obstacle in your life right now that you've been resisting? What would happen if you leaned into it instead? Marcus's philosophy teaches us to see life as a constant dance between order and chaos, comfort and discomfort. And the more we step into that discomfort willingly, the stronger we become. This is the essence of what he calls amor fati, the love of fate. To not just accept what happens to us, but to embrace it as necessary for our growth. Think about the implications of this. If you could genuinely love everything that happens to you, the good and the bad, what kind of freedom would that create? Now, let's explore a modern example. Picture a world-class athlete training for a competition. Every missed shot, every failed attempt, every aching muscle is not a sign of failure but a step toward mastery. This mindset is not unique to athletes, it's available to all of us. Whether we're artists, entrepreneurs, or simply trying to navigate the complexities of life, Marcus reminds us, no man can escape his destiny. The next inquiry being how he may best live the time that he has to live. In other words, the question isn't whether challenges will come, they will. The real question is, how will you respond? Let's take this one step further. What if adversity isn't just a test but a gift? Consider how hardship often reveals strengths we didn't know we had. A broken relationship teaches us resilience. A failed project forces us to innovate. Personal loss deepens our empathy. Marcus understood this intimately. He wrote, "Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight." But here's where it gets even deeper. Marcus didn't see obstacles as merely personal challenges. He saw them as opportunities to contribute to the greater good. His philosophy was not self-centered. He believed that by mastering ourselves, we become better citizens, better leaders, better human beings. Think about the ripple effect of this idea. When you face adversity with courage and clarity, you inspire those around you to do the same. Imagine the impact of a society where individuals embrace challenges as opportunities rather than threats. Let me pose a question. What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? Will it be one of avoidance or one of resilience? As we reflect on Marcus's wisdom, it's worth considering how we can integrate it into our daily lives. Here's a practical exercise. The next time you face a problem, pause and ask yourself 3 questions. What is within my control? What can I learn from this? How can I use this to grow? This practice doesn't eliminate hardship, but it transforms how we experience it. Instead of being victims of circumstance, we become active participants in shaping our lives. Marcus's life was far from easy. He experienced profound loss, betrayal, and suffering, yet he never let these experiences define him. Instead, he used them to refine his character, to deepen his understanding of what it means to live with virtue. As we conclude this section, let me leave you with one of his most enduring reflections. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. What will you make of your life? The Stoic blueprint for inner peace and unshakable freedom. Imagine waking up tomorrow, free from the turmoil of overthinking, liberated from the fear of judgment, and untethered by the chains of expectation. What if you could walk through life with the serenity of someone who knows their purpose and is unshaken by the chaos around them? Marcus Aurelius believed this state was not only possible, it was essential. He wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This is not a call to morbid introspection, but an invitation to clarity. Marcus reminds us that life is fleeting, and the moments we waste in worry or distraction are moments we'll never reclaim. The path to inner peace begins with embracing the impermanence of everything, our possessions, relationships, and even our own existence. But let's not stop at philosophy. Let's make it real. Picture this. You're in the middle of an argument with someone you care about. Your emotions are surging, your mind racing with thoughts of anger or self-defense. In that moment, Marcus would urge you to pause and ask, "Is this essential?" This single question can dissolve tension in an instant. Why? Because most of what we stress about, most of what we fight for, doesn't truly matter. Marcus understood this. He wrote, "Most of what we say and do is not essential. If you can eliminate it, you'll have more time and more tranquility." Let me ask you, what's one thing in your life right now that feels urgent but isn't essential? How much freer would you feel if you let it go? Inner peace, Marcus teaches us, isn't about withdrawing from life but engaging with it more intentionally. It's about recognizing what truly matters and letting go of the rest. And this begins with mastering our thoughts. Consider his advice. Your mind will take the shape of what you frequently hold in thought, for the human spirit is colored by such impressions. In other words, what you focus on shapes who you become. If you dwell on fear, anger, or envy, those emotions will dominate your life. But if you cultivate gratitude, patience, and resilience, you'll embody those virtues instead. Here's a practical exercise. Start your day with a simple reflection. Write down 3 things you're grateful for, 3 challenges you anticipate, and how you plan to face them with virtue. This practice not only sets a stoic tone for your day, but also trains your mind to focus on what matters most. But let's go deeper. What does it mean to be truly free? For Marcus, freedom wasn't about wealth or power, it was about autonomy over one's mind. He wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Therefore, guard accordingly." and take care that you entertain no notions unsuitable to virtue and reasonable nature. Freedom, then, is a choice. It's the decision to prioritize your values over fleeting pleasures, to align your actions with your principles, and to remain steady in the face of external turbulence. Imagine standing in a storm, wind howling, rain pouring, the world around you in chaos. Most people would struggle to find their footing, but a Stoic would stand firm, not because the storm is any less fierce, but because they've anchored themselves in something deeper, their inner compass. Let me pose another question. What is your anchor? When life feels overwhelming, what keeps you grounded? Marcus believed our anchor lies in understanding the natural order of the universe. He saw himself not as an isolated individual, but as part of a greater whole. This perspective shifted his focus from personal gain to collective well-being. He wrote, "What brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee." Think about that for a moment. What would happen if we all acted with the hive in mind? If every decision we made considered not just our own interests but the impact on others? This is the essence of Stoic freedom, to live in harmony with nature, contributing to the greater good while maintaining our individual integrity. But freedom is not just philosophical, it's practical. Marcus's wisdom provides us with tools to navigate everyday challenges. The art of reframing, instead of seeing obstacles as threats, view them as opportunities. Ask yourself, what is this teaching me? The power of presence. Instead of dwelling on the past or fearing the future, focus on what you can do right now. Marcus reminds us, confine yourself to the present. The strength of self-discipline, instead of reacting impulsively. Choose your response with intention. As he wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Let's consider a modern example. Imagine you're scrolling through social media, bombarded by images of other people's seemingly perfect lives. It's easy to feel inadequate or envious, but Marcus would challenge us to look inward. He'd ask, why are you comparing yourself to others? What value does this bring to your life? His advice is simple but profound. Focus on your own path. He wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This is the heart of Stoicism, the relentless pursuit of virtue. Regardless of circumstances, it's about becoming the best version of ourselves, not for recognition or reward, but because it's the right thing to do. As we near the end of our journey through Marcus's wisdom, let's return to his most enduring question. What is within your control? The answer, of course, is your mind, your thoughts, your actions, your character. Everything else is fleeting, subject to change, and ultimately beyond your grasp. By focusing on what you can control, you not only find peace but also unlock the freedom to live boldly and authentically. So let me leave you with one final challenge. In the next 24 hours, notice the moments when you feel frustrated, anxious, or overwhelmed. Pause, reflect, and ask yourself, what is within my control right now? Then act accordingly. And as you do, remember Marcus's parting words. It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. The question now is not whether you understand his wisdom, but whether you will live it.